Hi everyone, Abby here, and welcome back to my channel for Tech Tuesday, or welcome if you're new. Now today I'm reviewing the new Garmin Vivoactive 6 smartwatch. We're going to be going over battery life, activity tracking, how it works, and more. But before I get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed so you can stay tuned to all my new videos dropping weekly and so you can help the channel grow. And I do have this in the color Metallic Pink Dawn. I did come out in some other colors as well, which you can see on screen. And the current price as of recording is $439.99 Canadian and $299.99 American. And if you guys missed my last video, I did compare the Garmin Vivoactive 6 here with the Garmin Vivoactive 5. So if you guys are considering getting one of these two smartwatches, you want to know what they have in common, the differences, and which one I prefer overall, make sure to check out that video. You can find that coming up at the top right and also linked in the description below for you to check out when you're done watching this. I did want to mention that this video is not sponsored. I did buy this smartwatch myself, and all of the opinions I'm sharing today are my own. The Garmin Vivoactive 6 has a 1.2-inch AMOLED color display where you can see bright, bold colors. It has a Gorilla Glass 3 lens, it's touchscreen operated along with a few buttons there. You can see your daily metrics like your steps, your calories burned, your intensity minutes, your stress. It has a battery life up to 11 days on a single charge. It has sleep tracking along with a nap detection and sleep coach. It also has the new Smart Wake Alarm feature that's supposed to wake you up at the optimal time in your sleep cycle. It tracks a variety of indoor and outdoor activities like walking, running, Pilates, strength, and more. It has built-in GPS. It also has music downloadability, so you can download hundreds of songs in here and listen to them phone-free on the go. Have Bluetooth built in, so you can connect those Bluetooth headphones to bring with you to listen to your music phone-free. You can also connect things like external heart rate monitors and speed and cadence sensors, for example. And the built-in Wi-Fi there helps keep your phone updated and helps you download music, amongst other things. It also has women's health monitoring, heart rate tracking. It has a bunch of new running features like Pace Pro, Race Predictor. It has suggested daily walks. It's also Garmin Coach compatible. It has HRV status. You can see animated workouts, body battery. It has a water rating up to 5 ATM or 50 meters. So you can take this with you in the pool or in the ocean, swimming, in the rain, all of that stuff with no issues. It also has Garmin Pay built in for contactless payments on the go. You can see your smartphone notifications on here. You can reply to text messages. You can answer or deny phone calls and more. All right guys, so when it comes to the design of this smartwatch here, it's very kind of minimalistic looking. It does look quite nice. The bezel, it's more matte on the top and then more shiny on the sides. It does have two buttons here. One of them is a circular button that protrudes out a little bit, and the other one is kind of more flat and it's rectangular. The watch keeper is a little bit darker, as you guys can see, than the rest of the watch band and the watch. It's a pretty slim smartwatch. The heart rate sensor does protrude out a little bit, so when you're actually wearing the smartwatch, there's only really that portion that's really kind of on your skin. There is a lot of plastic going on. It's aluminum for the bezel right here, and it does have a plug-in charger. And if you find this video helpful so far, please go ahead and smash that like button for me. I'd really appreciate it. All right guys, so here's what it looks like on me. And I do have a 7-inch wrist. Now this does fit a variety of wrist sizes, which I've gone ahead and listed on screen for you. Now so far it has been very comfortable to wear, haven't had any skin irritation whatsoever, and it is pretty lightweight. The band is also pretty soft. I'm able to sleep in it with no issues as well. So the Vivoactive 6 here, it's a little bit big for my liking. I prefer to have a slimmer band and a smaller watch than myself. However, I do think it looks really nice. It's sleek. It kind of can go with whatever outfit you got on. And it's a type of smartwatch that is so comfortable and lightweight that honestly within like an hour of wearing it or so, I don't even notice it's on. All right guys, so when it comes to the display on the smartwatch, this does have an AMOLED color display. With this, you can see bright, bold, punchy colors. It looks great, also super contrasting as well. Another thing about AMOLED displays is that they are pretty reflective, as you guys can see. Depending on the angle and the lighting situation, you're gonna see a good amount of reflection. I do have it right now set at medium brightness. Outside, you guys can see that the reflection is a lot more noticeable. When you're outside in natural lighting, when it's under direct sunlight, it does get a little bit hard to read because of the glare that you're seeing there. So in these situations, I definitely recommend pumping up your brightness and make it more readable. We do have a large font mode. You can adjust your text size on here, which I think is great. Another thing about the display is we do have a red shift, which shifts everything to a red tone. You can change the color to green or to orange, which is pretty cool. So if you do want to change a watch face, you can click on that here. This is the only watch face that it came with. You have to go ahead and make your own. So you can go ahead and kind of customize from any of these options. I'm just going to show you guys all of them. So those are all the watch faces that you got. There aren't that many, to be honest, which is a little bit disappointing to me, but they are pretty customizable. You can change the data that you're seeing. You can also go ahead and you can change the accent color. And you could change the data color as well. There are additional watch faces you can get using the Garmin Connect IQ Store app. Some are free, some are paid. The options there are a little bit limited because the Vivoactive 6 is so new, but there's probably going to be more over time. And you can always go ahead and make your own watch face as well using the Face It within that app as well. You can use your own picture and choose to do, more of a digital or analog look watch face. Now, the Vivoactive 6 here has a quoted battery life up to 11 days on a single charge, or up to 5 days with the optional always-on display turned on, but that's not what I got. Now, with my usage, doing things like GPS walks, runs, having the always-on display turned off, daily alarms, timers, and more, I've gotten on average 7 to 8 days of battery life with this watch. And that was my battery life with the optional always-on display turned off. And when I went ahead and turned on the optional always on display, I got around 2.5 days of battery life there. So for me, I find this battery life is really good. I only have to charge it once a week or maybe every other week depending on my usage. And I think this would fit really well into a lot of people's lifestyles, especially considering that a lot of smartwatches on the market don't even last past 24 hours. And it does charge pretty quickly. It charges within around an hour and 45 minutes. So the Vivoactive 6 does a great job at tracking your activities. It tracks things like your steps, your calories burned, your intensity minutes, your heart rate zones, your pace, your laps, and more. And this smartwatch tracks a lot of activities, which I'll show you all now. It has your activities categorized, which I personally don't like. It honestly makes it slower and harder to find things you need rather than them just listing everything. So there's a bunch of running ones here. This really does track almost everything. The only thing I honestly see this missing is dance. If you're someone who you like to do workout videos, like you like to watch YouTube videos, calisthenics, when you're kind of using just your body weight, following along to workout DVDs, the cardio option will honestly track that for you pretty well. But I also use that for dance because there is no dance option. Now, when it comes to outside performance with the GPS, it's been working really well. Whenever I go outdoors to track a workout, I find the GPS connects pretty quick within about 20 seconds or less. And whenever I'm doing a walk or a run, I find that it does adjust the pace pretty quickly. I do a lot of intervals, kind of walking to running, and it does adjust to that. I also find that the route is spot on accurate. And while you can't see your route on the smartwatch because it doesn't have built-in maps connected to the Garmin app, you can see the route there. And the GPS connection in my experience has been reliable. I haven't experienced any issues, no droppage. Now, one thing that's new is that they have daily suggested walks. Now for me, I think that's awesome because most of Garmin smartwatches that have all these running features only give you a daily suggested run. I love walking. That's probably my favorite way to get cardio in other than cycling. So I found it awesome that they have daily suggested walks. So basically you can see them in your morning message. You can also see them if you click on the walk activity, it will show you daily suggested walk here. You can also see your distance that you've gone and your heart rate and the time. So the Vivoactive 6 here has Garmin's Elevate 4 heart rate sensor. Now this is a heart rate sensor that came out back in 2021. And in 2025, Garmin decided, hey, we're gonna still use this older heart rate sensor, which some of you may not care, some of you may. For me, it bugs me that Garmin decides to use the older heart rate sensor when they have the newer one available. This is a smartwatch that came out in 2025. Why are they still using a heart rate sensor from 2021? I don't understand. While I said that, I still think that the Elevate 4 heart rate sensor does a really good job at tracking your heart rate. We do have Garmin's new UI. A lot of changes here in things look a lot more 3D, and there's also a lot more circular, there's a lot more gradients going on when you're looking at areas of the smartwatch. When it comes to watch faces as well, a lot of circular edges, a lot of gradients going on. They make things look more 3D and they pop more. They just make things kind of look a bit prettier, look cuter, and that could be a really nice change for some of you out there comparing to the other older UI. All right, guys, so now I'm gonna be talking about women's health. So for my men out there who don't wanna see this or anybody else, you can go ahead and use my timestamps in the description below to skip to the next section where I'm gonna be talking about sleep tracking. So if you do want to use the women's health, it's something that you do have to actually add in. It didn't come pre-installed. You can do that in the Garmin Connect IQ Store app. So the women's health here does show you the day you are in your cycle. And when you're on your period, you can go ahead and you can track your flow intensity. And then when you're on your period or not, you can track your symptoms that you're feeling daily. And there's a good amount of them here. You can also go ahead and track your mood. Once again, there are a lot of different options here for your mood. You can also track any discharge you're experiencing. You can track sex drive, and you can even track a couple more things. It is customizable in the app. You can choose, to exclude things, include things, it's up to you. So I personally do find it pretty helpful being able to track these things on the daily, and you can track everything here on the watch. You can also track it in the Garmin Connect app. And one good thing about the app is when you do track it in there, you also get to see your period prediction, which tells you when your next menstrual cycle is going to be. It gives you an estimate of that. In my experience, it's been very accurate. You can track your sleep. There's also nap detection and a sleep coach. I'm not a napper, so I don't have any naps here for you guys, but it does track that, so that's great news if you like to take naps during the day. There's also a sleep coach, which gives you recommended hours of sleep that you should be aiming for, and it gives you some other information as well. So when it comes to the sleep tracking, gives you an overall sleep score out of 100. It also gives you a little message there on the quality of your sleep. It gives your overall sleep duration, and then a little message about how your sleep was. You could see mine was continuous. You could see my 4 sleep stages, which is your deep sleep, your light sleep, your REM, and your time awake, all in a graph here. It also shows the time I fell asleep and the time I woke up last night. Here you can see all that information, but more detailed, so we can see the exact time duration of each stage, and we can see that also in a little circular graph on the border. So here we can see my sleep stages for the last couple of days here, and then you can see your average kind of sleep score, how that's been fluctuating as well. Good at really getting when I fell asleep, when I wake up, pretty spot on. And I think that the message that it gives me, the score, that stuff is usually pretty accurate. However, when it comes to the sleep stages, I do find them off. For example, it's showing 0 minutes last night when I know that I did wake up, I went to the bathroom. It didn't track any of that. It's saying I wasn't awake. So I definitely think Garmin does need to improve their sleep stages. It's definitely not the most accurate. All right, guys, we have smart wake alarms. So if you are to go and set an alarm, you have an option to turn on the smart wake function. So with that on, basically, let's say you set an alarm for 7 a.m. The smart wake alarm has the ability to wake you up anytime within a 30-minute window between 6:30 and 7 a.m. If the watch detects that you have a good amount of sleep, it might wake you up before 7 a.m. It's supposed to kind of wake you up at the best time, least destructive time during your sleep cycle. So that is a new feature that we have on this smartwatch. If you're someone who has Fitbits or you've been using them in the past, Fitbit has been using this for a long time, and you may find it helpful. So while I think this is a cool feature, it's definitely something new and interesting, it's not something that I like to use very much. When I use it, I find that it usually wakes me up early by at least 10, 15 minutes. The watch might think I got enough sleep, but personally, I prefer to just have an alarm go off when I want it to go off and not wake me up any earlier. All right, guys, so I have noticed some cons about this watch. So the first con for me is that it does randomly shut off on me. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm assuming it's a bug that they're working through. So it's happened so far for me 3 times. Third time literally just happened on camera while I was recording. But as you guys could see, my battery is at 63%. I was literally just going into the activities and it decided to turn off randomly. Now, sometimes I might not notice, I might just look at it and it's off. So I don't like that at all. I'm hoping that that's something that's gonna be fixed with future updates. Another con for me is that the Vivoactive 6 here only comes out in one size. There's no longer an S option, a small option. Garmin got rid of that with the Vivoactive 5. And that's something that I personally don't like because I like smartwatches to be as small and compact as possible. And some people might find it a bit too big or some people might find it too small. I really think it would have been better to have a smaller version and a larger version instead of this one kind of medium-sized one. Another con about the smartwatch is the vibration. For some reason, Garmin decided to make the vibration not customizable. On previous smartwatches like the Vivoactive 5, Vivoactive 4, so you could control the vibration intensity. Here, you can't do that. And the vibration is a little bit weak. So you could miss it if you're kind of not paying attention. Another con for me with the smartwatch is that Garmin decided to use cheaper materials. Now, this is something I've mentioned with Vivoactive 5, and unfortunately, Garmin has done the same thing with Vivoactive 6 here. So we have, plastic buttons, we have plastic accents here, we have an aluminum bezel here instead of, stainless steel, instead of having metal buttons and accents. So I don't love that Garmin decided to just use cheaper materials on the Vivoactive 5 and the new Vivoactive 6 here. I think it was a bad move. I also don't love that Garmin decided to scrap the memory and pixel display. I think they should have given us an option to keep that. Another con for me is the ambient light sensor. I find that if I'm outdoors in direct sunlight or indoors with, noticeable light sources that are shining directly on it, it can pick up that light source. But if the light is coming from the sides here, it really doesn't do a great job. And a lot of times it doesn't pick up the light source properly, so the screen is just too dim. And with this smartwatch, you cannot turn off the ambient light sensor. You could only choose your brightness from one of 3 settings. So the last con for me is that they didn't give us a barometric altimeter sensor. Like, why? I don't get it. If this is a smartwatch that Garmin's trying to use for running, we should have a barometric altimeter which can sense your elevation. If you're going to be taking this outside and you're going to be going on, nice walks and you're going to be going on runs, you want to be able to have the smartwatch detect your elevation. You want to know, hey, how high was that hill I just tackled? You don't know because the smartwatch doesn't track elevation for you. So it's disappointing to me that we don't have that on here on a smartwatch that they gave so many running features to. They left it out. And we also can't track forest climb, which also is a big bummer to me. All right, guys, so considering the price, the quality, the color, the functionality, the performance, the battery life, and everything like that, I would go ahead and give this an 8.2 out of 10. And I definitely do give it a thumbs up. So if you guys are looking to pick up the new Garmin Vivoactive 6 here, I've gone ahead and left a link down in the description for you to use. And if there's anything I missed today that you want to know, just go ahead and drop a comment below. I do read all the comments, so I'll definitely get back to you. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.